All right, guys, I'm really excited today because I get to announce a brand new partnership that I have with Titan Nutrition. They're one of the most trusted and respected supplement brands in the industry. You can find their products in supplement stores all across the country. They have a wide range of products from proteins to pre-workouts, vitamins, superfoods. All of their products are backed by the CGMP, which is the Greater Manufacturing Practices, and using FDA-monitored facilities with third-party testing. I've tried several of these products, and I can tell you right now, they are of the highest quality that I've ever had, specifically the protein. If you like a good whey protein powder, and you're trying to bulk up or you're just using it as a meal replacement, I'm telling you right now, guys, it is better than the big guys. We all know who they are. And it's better than going to your local GNC. I'm telling you right now, and it's more affordable. So head on over to titannutrition.net and check out some of their protein flavors like cinnamon roll, cherry bomb, berry, strawberry sorbet. I'm telling you guys. And here's another little perk to do so. If you use discount code WWE at checkout, you get 10% off your order and free shipping. So go over to titannutrition.net and use the discount code WWE. You can also click on the link that's in the show notes. Again, that is titannutrition.net and use code WWE. You will not be disappointed.
This is WWE superstar Drew McIntyre, and you're listening to the WWE Podcast.
The one that everybody wants, me.
Becky Lynch is going to WrestleMania. Claymore!
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. This is my iron. You're going to acknowledge me.
What's going on, everybody, guys and girls? Welcome back to another edition of the SmackDown Review right here on the WWE Podcast. As always, I'm one of the hosts of this show, Michael Ritter. You can find me on Twitter at Michael5Ritter, and also one of the hosts of the Football Function Podcast, available on all of your podcasting platforms. Joining me on today's episode, as usual, my co-host of the SmackDown Review, John Carrasco, and you can find him on Twitter at Big Speaker, BIGG_speaker. John, how we doing on this Friday evening?
Well, man, of course, always good, get a good work day out of the way, and then, of course, come home, get showered up, watch a little bit of SmackDown, and end the day here, I guess you could say. So, yeah, definitely ready to break down this little review and everything like that and get on into it.
See, this experience that I had watching SmackDown tonight was absolutely atrocious. It's no secret, for the past few months, for whatever reason, DirecTV has... Hold on. Siri is trying to activate herself on my computer. Go ahead and get rid of that. Okay. For the past few months, DirecTV has not been cooperating with Fox, so I have not been able to watch anything that comes on Fox, whether that's football games, Family Guy, SmackDown, anything you can think of that comes on Fox. Forget about it, in other words. So, needless to say, with NFL Sunday Ticket leaving DirecTV and all these problems we've been dealing with, our days with DirecTV are numbered. But that's a subject for a whole nother day. As of right now, the Fire Stick has been a pretty reliable source for as long as we've had it, especially over these past few months using it to watch SmackDown. But today, it was not necessarily on our side. Let's just say that. Like buffering as much as you can possibly think. I was so close several times to saying, you know what? Forget this. I'm not going to watch anymore. I'll just go off John watching and I'll talk to him about it. And I'll have him fill me in on what happened throughout the show. But cooler heads prevailed. We were able to get through it and just deal with the buffering. And, here we are, here to break down this episode. But, yeah, it wasn't fun having it just pause every few minutes, and glad it's over. But for the most part, I got the gist of what happened on SmackDown. I was able to watch some parts a couple times because whenever it would buffer, it would take you back a few seconds. And that's why I finished about 30 minutes later than you did, was because I was behind from it buffering and taking me back so many times. But nonetheless, we got through it, and I'm definitely looking forward to breaking it down with you. However, you went to your first ever Royal Rumble 5 days ago. How was it? Did you have a damn good time? Was it a worthy experience? What was your overall gist? You don't have to go full in detail. You can just give us a quick summary as, what you thought and what your experience was like.
Well, compared to of course, the little live show that we went to, what was it, back like last year or so?
In June.
Yeah, compared to this, going to Royal Rumble, I guess you could say, like bigger stadium, bigger amount of people. Of course, it was overwhelming, getting inside the doors and everything like that. Like you were saying, like off air earlier this morning, like being shoulder to shoulder, kind of walking next to people and everything like that. That was kind of crazy. But I mean, once you start to like sit down, you kind of get the feel for your seat and everything like that. You kind of take in the views that are around you, and I don't know, man. It just hits you like once. What was it? Gunther started it off. His music hit.
Brilliant way to start it
And
off, man.
The dudes that were sitting next to us in the row, the little friends that you had made from Atlanta, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Whenever they stood up and did the little
The Imperium thing, putting their hands behind their back.
Man, that started me right there. I was like, okay, these people are already getting into it. And like, well, of course, we have the people that were behind us that were just kind of being loud and obnoxious, So being out there and being in the environment, it's a lot different from just seeing it from a TV perspective. Let me say that. So, I mean, of course, being there was an experience of a lifetime. Let me tell you that. I mean, I haven't been to any live events ever like that or anything. So, like
an actual TV event.
Yeah. So being around just like the people, and then just the community of wrestling, you just feel kind of safe and content in that little, or I wouldn't even say little, but that big arena. You just all these people are the same interests as you. So that's what they're there for, I guess you could say. So, yeah, man, it was something for sure.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that separate a live event from a TV event. Number one, the aspect of surprise. Mm-hmm. You're a live event, no matter what championship is being defended, there's a 99.9% chance that championship is not going to change hands, and you know that. Number two, the atmosphere is different because everybody's just happy. It's your local town. You don't ever get to see WWE come. Yeah. So if you see a live event in a small town, most likely you're not getting a Raw, SmackDown, Survivor Series, any type of pay-per-view going to, your city. So clearly, beggars can't be choosers. You're going to appreciate what you get. Whereas if you go to a Royal Rumble, you most likely spend a very good amount to get there, and you most likely are very much not the typical fan. You are a, next level fan.
Yeah.
So, as you can see, there are reasons to be pissed off. If, just like if something happens throughout the pay-per-view that you don't agree with. Like, because, I'm not going to lie, when Raquel Rodriguez got thrown over the top rope, my shoulders dropped. Like, I almost, my head fell in my lap. Because I was that devastated, and I was invested in her run. Obviously, we both picked Rhea Ripley to win the Rumble, so we were spot on there. Shout out to you. But during the match, I shifted towards Raquel, and that's who I started cheering for and eventually rooting for to win. But like you mentioned, the crowd was 100% pulling for Rhea, at least our section. And there was a lot of, funny characters, I'm sure, throughout the entire arena, but mostly, in our section that we were exposed to. But all in all, it felt completely different than the first time I went to the Royal Rumble in that same arena. I'm not sure why exactly it felt so different, but it felt like it was a completely different arena. It wasn't anything like I expected. We did plan on seeing Rocky T. My service in the arena was about as reliable as the Fire Stick was tonight watching SmackDown. So, obviously, and it was a absolute nightmare inside that place. I mean, 50,000 people, especially in those, getting from we were in section 106. Getting from section 106 to 107 you were bumping shoulders with at least 30 different people, most likely. And I mean, just getting from point A to point B, the restroom, forget about it. I literally went to go use the restroom during the show.
I was about to say, though, there's no way getting into that.
I walked by about 40 people, and I was like, what are these guys standing in line for? And I got to they're standing in this is the line for the restroom? Like, are you kidding me? Like, you guys do know you're going to be here for like 30 minutes. There's a Royal Rumble going on right now. Yeah, excuse me, but I will hold my bladder for the remainder of this pay-per-view.
Yeah.
But, I mean, all in all, great experience, man. I enjoyed it. Definitely not my last Royal Rumble I'm going to go to. I can't wait to go to another. The 48 hours, though, man. 9 hours of sleep in the 48 hours, 16 hours, and then some of driving. We got there, though. It was a nice little, quick trip, and it was fun.
I was going to say, the drive wasn't even that bad, I mean, of course, getting there, you're kind of just unfamiliar with the scene and everything like that. But like after like the whole experience, man, you're kind of coming home. We were watching the Royal Rumble again, just from the
Which
TV
was awesome.
perspective, and it was just another breeze, kind of the 5 hours went by kind of quick, and I don't know, man, it was just like a lot to take in, and man, I enjoyed it.
I did as well, buddy. But let's go ahead and talk about this SmackDown that aired February 3rd, 2023, 2323, from Greenville, South Carolina. And it started off with the culmination of the tournament that we've been seeing over the past couple of weeks to determine who's going to challenge the Usos for their SmackDown Tag Team Championships. This finals included Imperium, Ludwig Kaiser, and Giovanni Vinci versus Braun Strowman and Ricochet. A good way to start the show. Another long match. That's what they've kind of been doing. I've noticed that's SmackDown's formula. Give the fans a nice, entertaining, long-form wrestling match to start the show. Kill a bunch of time. And then those promos, those video packages, all that stuff means a little bit more because we don't get, I don't know, a dozen of them throughout the duration of a 3-hour show because obviously the show's only 2 hours. But this was a good way to start it. It was a meaningful match where there was a lot at stake. Obviously an opportunity to have a championship match against the Usos where who knows what the hell's going on. We didn't even see one of them tonight on the show, which, sidebar, I did hear that the laws specifically for DUIs in Canada, very strict.
Really?
So that is why we probably won't see the Usos at the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. So just kind of keep that in the back of your head when you might have a question here or there over the next few weeks as we gear up for Elimination Chamber where they might not have something going on. So kind of just keep that, in the back of your mind. But as a tag team right now, I feel like with the direction that we seem to be heading in WrestleMania season, I don't know, man, like just... It just seems like you almost want there to be a fork or a wedge in between the Usos. To get the most out of this, what's going on with Jey Uso? Is he turning babyface? Is he leaving the bloodline for good? How is that going to be believable or how is that going to be meaningful if him and Jimmy are moving as a cohesive tag team? This is only for one set of belts. It's not for the unified Tag Team Championships. It's only for the SmackDown belts. So theoretically or hypothetically, if they lose these championships, they could still be champs and have belts in the bloodline. It wouldn't just be like they lose titles completely, but you do start to crack, I guess, or put a little bit of a dent in the right now flawless bloodline. I mean, it did take a little bit of a hit at the Royal Rumble because of Sami Zayn and Jey Uso, but as far as like wins and losses are concerned, since they gained these championships, there hasn't even really been a shadow of a doubt if any of them are going to lose, although there was a very close near fall at the Royal Rumble with Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns where my heart skipped a beat whenever there was a pretty long 2, and obviously we didn't expect Roman to lose that match, but they did a hell of a job on one particular pinfall, and I'm sure there's someone out there that knows exactly what I'm talking about. But nonetheless, the Usos are in a vulnerable spot right now as the champions, and I don't know. I think the winner of this match, either way, whoever won it, was going to set themselves up in a pretty believable spot next week on SmackDown where they have a shot going into it to win the championship. But what'd you think about this match to start the show?
Well, I mean, from the beginning, I mean, of course, they kind of gave like the breakdown of like the Rumble, you know. So I would want to say congratulations to Gunther, you know, him getting or breaking just that record of being
phenomenal
in the ring
Rumble
for an hour and 11 minutes. I mean, it was pretty crazy, but I get the statement that they were trying to make behind him, you know, putting him in there at number one and him lasting all the way to the end.
Showing you that he can be that Iron Man.
That he can be that person that's going to be, I guess, built up at this point. That's what I'm kind of taking from this, that they're trying to put him over for us. So I'm with it, you know. I mean, it kind of solidifies what he brings to the table and what his statement is whenever he says being a professional wrestler type thing, you know. So that was pretty cool, but in the match, man, I mean, the only thing that I kind of noticed was no Pat McAfee. I was kind of downsided on that.
I did kind of hear though,
or something.
Like, no, sorry. I was just going to let you know about that. Is I did hear even last week or about on the internet days after he returned at the Rumble that his official return was undecided yet. That was a little bit of like kind of a one-off. Him being back to call the Rumble.
It sucks because whenever he came out, I didn't recognize his song at first, you know. But of course, once you saw like the faces like start popping up and everything like that, man, I mean, it was just a good thing to see him actually come back, you know. And just the way that Corey Graves kind of was thrown off about it, that was a good little chuckle that I had about it. But
the fact that was a genuine surprise just makes it so much more important of a moment. You know, I love seeing that.
Yeah. But other than that, I mean, the match, man, I mean, between these two teams, I mean, I felt like it was pretty good. Like you said, I mean, having a good, strong match to start with, you know, just kind of kill time and, you know, just put it past us. But, I mean, the thing that kind of stuck out to me was that elevated swanton that Ricochet did.
Yeah.
Dude, that looked like it kind of hurt whenever he came down, but, I mean, still phenomenal how they just work pretty good as a team, you know, other than their little differences that they had.
Yeah, and it's a hell of a way to end the match. But now that you know who won, Braun Strowman and Ricochet, how do you like their chances next week against the Usos?
With the cracks that we got going on, I mean, I feel like it's kind of like, okay, maybe, but then again, I'm not thinking of anything serious about this, you know. I mean, there's the possibility, but I don't think that they're going to take the championships or anything like that. So, yeah, I mean, I'm just hoping for a good match, I guess you could say.
Well, what do you think about a good race?
Well, I mean, this good race can go out the door, honestly, because I was kind of thrown off about it. I mean, didn't really understand the whole meaning, I guess you could say. So, I mean, I took me a little lunchable, let me say that.
Yeah, this one was odd. Like, I don't understand why. They were in the L.A. Coliseum, if I'm not mistaken. I'm sure there's something going on there. I'm not a NASCAR or a racing fan, so that's on me. I'm not really up to speed on the terminology and what things like that are called, but I did see that Ray and Dominic were, you know, racing out there, I guess. But one thing I noticed of this, the little audio clips that they were playing, I mean,
while they were driving,
it was like something you'd see in 2K, you know, or like GTA. Just the little audio clips that you heard from Rey Mysterio and then Dominic as well, just took away from it a little bit. Obviously, Finn Balor and Damian Priest there watching, and Dominic blamed Rhea not being there as to why he lost, or he said, you know, things would have been different if Mommy was here. So whatever. Ray did have some funny little one-liners during this segment, but all in all, it was one of the head-scratching moments of the show.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, I just didn't get it. I mean, I kind of understand that they were trying to push for the NASCAR thing that's supposed to be coming up or whatever, but yeah, man, this was just kind of a head scratcher. Like I said, I went and sat down, had me a little bit of dinner at this time, you know, so of course stepped away, but of course tried to keep my attention towards it. But yeah, I just didn't understand it, man.
What'd you have for dinner?
Little quality time for Dom and his pops, huh? Let me say that. But I did have some Pizza Hut, man.
Pizza Hut, huh?
Not even gonna lie.
Nobody out pizzas the Hut, man. I'll tell you that.
I am curious. Have you happened to? Because we were talking about New York pizza, and they have a New York pizza now, and it's only 6 slices, so it's pretty big chunks of pizza, and I was just curious what that's like.
No, I haven't, only because, I'm not a fan of posers.
Oh, my gosh.
So they're going to be a phony. They can go bark up somebody else's tree,
Well, we can kind of jump off that topic then and kind of roll into this next part. I mean, we have the Sonya Deville and Charlotte match.
Is that what's next, huh? Okay, it is. Charlotte Flair versus Sonya Deville in the much-anticipated Women's Championship match that Sonya wanted desperately. She wanted this match. But be careful what you wish for, because you just might get it. And in this form, it came in a can of whoop ass being opened on Sonya Deville. One of the slowest.
Bud.
Oh, I'm sorry, I apologize. But one of the slowest tap outs I've ever seen.
Oh, yeah.
Just whenever you talk about the way the match ended. And I don't know if it was just a little bit. I mean, she looked so defeated. It was not only because usually whenever they're in a lot of pain, they're tapping out really fast. Mm-hmm. That was almost just like I can't beat her just in this match already. Just, 3 quick, or not quick, but 3 lone taps. What did you think about Sonya Deville? Because I know she's high on your list than most people. So what did you think about her falling short despite wanting this match so damn bad? But now I guess we could turn our attention to Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair, who was chosen as Rhea's opponent for WrestleMania. But we knew that there was a speed bump in the way in the form of Sonya Deville. And Charlotte was able to get over that speed bump. What were your thoughts on this match?
Well, on this, man, I kind of felt like of course, it was deserving. I mean, like I said, she was persistent with her route and trying to get another match, which ultimately ended up in a boo, I mean, of course, she got the loss and everything. But I felt like, I agree with Detroit Kyle, because he kind of said that Sonya, she looked better in ring and everything like that. And I agree. I felt like she was a little bit better in transitioning into moves and everything. And, of course, Charlotte being fairly new back into the ring, it kind of felt like they were just – the chemistry was there, I guess you could say. So, for Charlotte to get this win, it made her look a lot better, I guess you could say. And, yeah, it does suck that Sonya, she did miss the opportunity here. But, she's up there in those contentions, I guess you could say. She's making her name still relevant. Up there, but yeah, she definitely didn't overcome.
Yeah, Sonya definitely is staying relevant, especially whenever you are talking about L's. Her name definitely stays in that conversation. But one thing I will say, just to get it out of the way here, there's no better time to talk about it than right now. I talked about something last week on the show, and one thing about me is I am not, I guess, afraid to voice my opinion on what I think about certain things here on the show, whether that's good, bad, indifferent, or whatever, because I'm also not afraid to admit whenever I'm wrong, or if I am presented new information. Just for example, I'm not going to be stubborn and die on a hill of my opinion and not change my view on things, whereas in this specific case, we talked about last week with LA Knight, and I said, hey, felt a little bit forced. I didn't say that I was against it. If you go back and listen, what was the exact thing I said? Is I don't know how I feel about it yet, because I didn't want it to be something that was forced. I felt like, not having been in person in an in-crowd or in arena setting, I didn't know how the live crowd was reacting to it. I thought maybe, hey, they see a guy chanting it. Of course they're going to chant it while they're there. But is LA Knight the one who's really, just trying to hammer this home to maybe just try to manufacture some relationship or connection with the fans? And being in the arena, in the Alamo Dome, and hearing all of the yeahs and how over LA Knight was, which I'm a massive LA Knight fan. It was just that one thing I wasn't sure. And that's what I needed. That's what I needed to see. So don't worry. I am on board, and we could let this thing grow. Disappointed he wasn't on the show tonight. But, next time we see him, I'm sure it'll be interesting. I do like that he wasn't there, given what happened at the Royal Rumble. It's smart to keep him off TV for a little bit. We did see Bray Wyatt, however, sitting in a rocking chair. And who else but Uncle Howdy comes up, puts his arm on his shoulder, and does a little to the camera. But what's up?
I do have a question about this. Is this Uncle Howdy or is it Uncle Henry?
It's Uncle Howdy.
Okay, so why is there a difference?
Uncle Henry was just someone who they were speculating could have been under the mask, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay,
so
the mask being different doesn't mean nothing.
I mean, you're asking the wrong guy.
Well, I mean, it's just opinions. I
understand.
Course, I mean, you may have read into something, maybe. And then on my side, I think it's two different people. I think it's, like I said, Uncle Howdy on the Raw side with Alexa Bliss, and then Uncle Henry. So
I just haven't really heard them reference Uncle Henry actually in WWE. Have you heard anybody on TV say Uncle Henry?
Not on WWE,
but on the internet,
I'm just, with speculations and stuff like that. I mean, I'm not saying this is actual real stuff, real news. But
yeah, I get
you. It's just like
I just don't watch Raw, so I don't know.
Of course, Twitter's out there. I mean, there's diehards. There's
conspiracy theorists out there.
That too, and sometimes my mind goes off into a little wild with them. So I mean, like I said, I could be wrong, but I mean, I just have a thought that it is two different people under these two masks. That's my thought on it.
Who knows? You might end up being right because LA Knight wasn't shown, Bray Wyatt was, so you expect there to be something that happens in the near future with him. Let's see what happens next here on SmackDown. If I'm not mistaken, we get a backstage segment. Roman Reigns, Jimmy and Solo. But Jay is basically the whole reason behind this because they're asking, where the hell is he? Jimmy kind of gets put under the microscope. Roman says, do you really think like that he hasn't contacted you? Where the hell is he? He's like, dude, I haven't heard from him. Whatever. Roman says, I'm going to ask you again. Well, I'm going to tell you again. I haven't heard from him. So we get a little bit of animosity there, a little bit of frustration there. Tensions are starting to rise in the bloodline. Solo doesn't say a word, even though Roman's talking to him directly. Don't really like that. They're continuing the slow burn with all this. Now the animosity and just the problems amongst the bloodline members. But man, this is just some pretty good stuff. That's the temper and how you just see that Jay and Sami and that whole dynamic is really getting underneath Roman Reigns' skin and causing him to act certain ways. He's not that cool, unbothered, nothing can faze me guy that we saw for the better part of 2 years. You could tell that he's a little bit shook by what's going on here.
Oh, yeah, man. This is, like you said, this is great. I mean, it kind of gives us a little bit more to hang on to try to figure out what's going on. But the way that he just, the anger that he puts behind, like, the words and everything like that, just kind of being disrespectful and stuff like that, coming off to Jimmy in rude ways, I mean, if I'm sitting there, man, and somebody else is kind of talking to me like that, I mean, I'm kind of, my blood's starting to boil a little bit too, so I kind of feel like the facial expression that Jimmy gave off was, just spot on, perfect, I guess you could say. And then Paul Heyman, I mean, just back there, being like the little silent one as well, his little facial expressions definitely gives off like maybe just concerning, I guess you could say, like Roman's kind of just approaching this wrong in a weird way.
Yes, my tribal chief.
Yeah, I mean, even later on in the show, man, it kind of gets kind of weird. But I mean, I don't know, man. Just the whole situation that's going on right here, man. Yeah, the cracks are starting to show,
Yeah, and you definitely don't want to let cracks show very often or for too long. We'll just go ahead and say that. But up next, we get a tag team match: Brawling Brutes versus the Viking Raiders. John, take us through this one.
Well, on this, man, I mean, I kind of felt like Viking, I mean, not the Viking Raiders, Brawling Brutes, they were out for a little revenge, I guess you could say, for what the Viking Raiders did to Drew and Sheamus previously, taking them out of the match, I guess you could say, from ever even happening. But other than that, man, I kind of felt like it started kind of slow, Viking Raiders, they were kind of doing their thing. I do like that Butch, he kind of started doing that little joint manipulation. Like I said, I was missing it last week. But other than that, I mean, Ridge and Butch doing the little homage or paying homage to Sheamus, the Brutes of the Baron, I guess you could say. And that was pretty cool. But Butch, man, he just kept going, welling on him. And then whenever he was trying to kick him and he kept catching the rope and it was bouncing back, that was pretty funny to me right there. But other than that, the Alabama Slam that Ridge did on Ivar, that was pretty cool too, because that's a big dude, you know.
Oh, yeah,
and that's
for sure.
That's pretty impressive. But outside the ring, Ivar, he takes out Ridge with a spin kick, you know, and then Ivar ends up getting back in the ring with Eric, and they do a Ragnarok.
Yes.
I believe it is. And then
You're correct.
On Butch, you know, and then they get the 1, 2, 3 right there, and of course they pick up the win, and then they're walking back up the ramp, and whose music hits? Drew McIntyre, him and Sheamus, they come out, do a little pounding on the Viking Raiders, and that's how we wrap that one up right there.
See, it's always good to see Drew. This is kind of when the lagging was really going on, so I'm glad you were able to have eyes on this segment, but it was kind of just bits and pieces, as if I didn't have Wi-Fi and I was trying to watch a video on my phone inside of like a tin building while it's raining outside.
Dang, so it was like type stuff.
No, just, you know, when the service is not good.
Yeah,
you know, and you just know, well, you just feel SOL.
Oh, okay. I was thinking more of TV side.
Yeah. Get out of town, all right? But anyways,
I am.
Up next, let's see here. We needed to fill a spot in the women's elimination chamber match. There's still one vacant spot. Going into the night, there was 2. Natalya says, we'll go and snatch that up real quick, and she earns her spot in this elimination chamber match. Going into this, I would have put money on Shayna Baszler. They were hyping up her performance in the 2021 or 2020. I'm not really sure which one. One of those elimination chamber matches where she eliminated damn near everybody and looked like 2003 Goldberg at SummerSlam whenever he was in the elimination chamber, just dominating everybody in sight. And I thought that maybe it would be a nice story to get her back in there to see how she does this time around. But Natalya is the one who snatches that opportunity. What do you think about Natty entering her name in the chamber match?
Well, I mean, on that, I definitely wasn't expecting her to get the win. On my end, I was going for Zelina Vega. You know, I thought she was going to get a good push here, but unfortunately not. But Natalya, man, I mean, her new little haircut, I'm assuming she did a little bit of procedure to the face and everything like that. And I think she looks good, you know. And for her to pull out this win, it was a big surprise because I figured, you know, she was just one of the entrants to kind of like make the match a little bit better, you know, viewing-wise. But for her to get this dub here, I mean, like I said, definitely a big surprise. And I'd say pretty good congratulations to her, you know, making her little comeback.
Yeah, I would love to see Natty have a nice run here. I know she's not going to most likely win the chamber because the chamber itself is almost like a Royal Rumble. Because if you win that chamber match, you go to WrestleMania and you have a match against Bianca Belair. So you have a chance at something real special here. Now, you already made your early prediction on who you think is going to win this.
I did.
And I know that people are going to disagree with you. I know there's going to be some that are all for it because of her following and her fan base, but there's going to be another half of the WWE universe who has a pitchfork out and wants to give you a swirly, give you the old-fashioned, get them in the headlock and punch them while they're in the headlock, you know?
Okay.
Yeah, one of those hardcore
Give
moves.
me a brutal beating, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
People don't play around, right? As you can tell. But you think Liv Morgan is the
Liv
favorite
Morgan
right now.
I know. We experienced what we saw with her during her little title reign and everything like that, and it wasn't the prettiest, you know. But I think that she has improved a lot. You know, I felt like even though that she hasn't been talking that much on the mic, that the crowd is like starting to follow her a little bit more, just because.
Just a little bit.
I just don't feel like she's shooting herself in the foot with the ways that she would present her promos and stuff.
For
like
sure.
that, you know. So I kind of feel like her being off the mic is definitely doing a good for her fan, I guess you could say, you know, bringing up. But
Just watch her.
yeah, just other than that, I mean, I feel like she's improving in the ring too. I mean, it doesn't seem like she's slow. It seems like she's taking a step forward in like the way that she approaches moves and stuff like that. So I'm all for it, man.
Man, I'll tell you what. Raquel, is she in this Elimination Chamber match?
See, that's where I was kind of like overthinking. I wouldn't say overthinking, but I underestimated Raquel in this whole thing. You know, didn't even think of her name, and that's what kind of has me thinking, okay, maybe Raquel isn't in that part or isn't in that spotlight for me to recognize her being that superstar that she is right now. So for her to be in the shadow of this, of the women that are in this elimination chamber, it doesn't feel like she's deserving right now. I mean, of course, she's a great athlete. I mean, I think she's up there. She's going to be holding the championship pretty soon, I think. But I just don't think that right now she's at that point to take that next step to be that champion.
Well, you can overlook her if you want, Chiquita.
Hey,
but this is not one of those situations.
All right, man, I got you.
where I think that Raquel is going to lose. You know, she had the Rumble right there. I felt like it was close. Liv did as well.
Liv was one of the last three.
Liv started first and second. Like, she was in the first with Rhea. So I'm not selling her short, but Rumble is a little bit different than a chamber. I think that she's going to be going through the grinder, so to speak, with some of the competition that's in there. But if there's anybody that can hang, it's definitely Liv Morgan. And I like that we each have a horse in this race. Part of me doesn't want to see Raquel win because I don't want to see her go to Raw, which is most likely what's going to happen. Although it's going to be like a trade or a swap for Rhea Ripley. Imagine having Rhea.
That's how I feel about
and
the
Raquel
Liv thing. Look, somebody's gonna have to be swapped over for that to happen. And I'm on my side of it, I guess you could say.
All right, Liv, have all your bags packed by next Tuesday.
Oh my gosh, that just means she's taking a good direction and where she needs to be. All right.
Well, there was only one thing left to talk about here, right?
There is.
And it's what closed out the show. Roman Reigns sends Solo Sikoa and Jimmy Uso to the bus. Which right there, I was, by yourself, man? What are you thinking? You think Paul Heyman's going to be able to, whenever you-know-what hits the fan, drop the titles and start swinging with you and throw some, I guess, some people in the 1D, which is what the Usos would typically do, or Solo Sikoa, hit them with that, I don't even know what the hell you call that.
Spike.
Simone Spike, exactly. It was coming, man. I appreciate you being there to catch me when I'm falling here, but that was one. It was right there. But anyways,
My bad.
No worries. That's why we're a team here, That's why we work together. But Roman Reigns wants to go solo down there, and it does cost him. What were some of the points that he in his promo that you took away from this? Like what he was saying, obviously taking shots at Sami Zayn, expressing a lot of anger at him for obviously accusing him of using his family to try to get certain things or whatever, and Sami clearly disputes that. But what did you think about what Roman had to say?
Well, on this man, from the very beginning, I mean, of course, let me just kind of point this out, 887 days champion. And of course, the new shirt, definitely like that. He was already wearing that thing,
the
new Mafia shirt. It's pretty nice. But some points that I took out of this is the crowd, man. The crowd were the ones that I felt kind of made the direction of this whole promo happen, I guess you could say, because Roman, he didn't want to talk about Sami. He wanted to talk about Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, that was funny. Name dropping him.
The crowd was just chanting Sami, Sami. And then all of a sudden, that's what Roman turned to. He's like, okay, we could talk about Sami. So, I mean, I thought that was kind of crazy. He was just trying to look past Sami at this point. Of course, the crowd is the people that were trying to make this still relevant, because he said this was already a week ago. He's trying to get leave that in the past, I guess you could say. So I understood that, but just the way the crowd was involved in this, that was a big point to me. But other than that, man, another thing that kind of stood out was the challenge. Whenever he did the little beating and everything, he
snuck up from behind him, which caught me off guard.
Wait, hold up, which part?
Sami.
No. Whenever Sami was already beat up and they took the chair off of his neck,
so after he was already okay.
Yeah, and they were in the corner and he was just talking to him, like the camera was picking it up, and he was saying that
the off mic stuff.
Yeah, he or Sami broke up his family, his bloodline, and everything like that. Him losing his right hand man, and then the challenge where he tells Sami that he's going to face him at the Elimination Chamber in Montreal. In
Sami's hometown.
Yeah, and he's like saying, I'm going to break you in front of your family, your wife, your parents, your kid type stuff. And that was a big moment right there for me because I felt like this is that make or break, you know. I mean, if you want to get this out of the way right here, I mean, of course, we're already looking at Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania, you know, so we can already kind of see what the path is for Sami Zayn at this point. But, man, just the way that he was, like, approaching that part of the speech, I guess you could say, was just chills. You know, I felt chills whenever he said or was talking. Let me say that.
Yeah, this was a massive pop when Sami revealed himself and attacked Roman and was just beating the hell out of him. And obviously the backup came, reinforcements eventually came out, and Sami got the hell beat out of him. Mm-hmm. But it was still just one of those, it wasn't quite like the Rumble. You know, you just felt a little bit, this was like RC Cola compared to the Coca-Cola, which we got at the Rumble. That pop was insane.
That was wild, dude. Whenever the chair hit, you know, that was...
The place erupted.
It sounded, yeah, just how it sounded. It was freaking crazy. You know, if y'all caught that, y'all know what I'm saying.
The place erupted, without a doubt. But for what it's worth, this was still a good segment. It was still a step forward in the right direction. Sami Zayn is an over babyface, man. Going into WrestleMania season, some good waters you want to be in. Obviously, probably not going to win in Montreal against Roman. Roman's got a date with Cody Rhodes. I don't
think so. Mm-hmm.
But it's going to be a very important match for him.
Oh, yeah.
Probably the biggest to date in his career. And that crowd, if you think that what we had in San Antonio was loud, Montreal is going to be just... Eardrums are going to be bursting.
So how far off would we be from Elimination Chamber to Mania?
Well, the Elimination Chamber is... It's about a month.
Okay.
About a month off.
Hopefully, like, this whole little bloodline thing can wrap up right then and there, you know? Like, after, I mean, of course, there's going to be a little bit of build to kind of figure out what's going to go on with the Cody Rhodes situation. But I just kind of hope, like, this whole... This crack gets sealed. Let me say like that, I guess you could say, with the whole bloodline.
They got some weeks to do it.
But, yeah, I mean... The whole situation that they got going on, man, especially losing, like, Jimmy, you know, twin, I guess you could say, and then no contact and stuff like that, you know, that's kind of weird, you know. I can kind of understand where Roman was coming from at that point. But,
yes.
Yeah, man, this whole situation that they got going on, definitely a bumpy road, let me say that.
Bumpy to say the least, but that does do it for John and I. Here on the SmackDown review for this week's edition, we do want to thank you guys, obviously, for tuning in like you always do, especially if you're a regular listener. If you're a new listener, welcome to the show. This is a safe place. We like to call it, you know, a safe place for wrestling fans to come and voice their opinion. You know, this is a nice growing community, and let's just say that you know those what is it? Those gyms that say judgment-free zone or whatever. Yeah. That's where we are. You know, we're the judgment-free zone. All your takes, all your wrestling opinions, bring them our way, and they'll be in a safe place. But, John, any shout-outs, any plugs, anything like that before we sign off here?
Well, definitely want to give a shout-out to Rocky T, man. I definitely don't like that we didn't get to interact with you at that time. You know, I mean, I understand it kind of sucked, and like Mike said, the reception and everything over there. I mean, I couldn't even get out a video to post to Twitter or anything like that.
Really?
So, yeah, I mean, my internet totally sucked too, so I understand that. But, yeah, definitely shout out to him, man. I guarantee he had a blast just like we did and everything. And, of course, shout out to the Patreon Discord members. You know, y'all keep up y'all's work and keeping us in tune with what we got going on. Of course, like y'all's theories and everything like that. It's always good to bounce off of. And, of course, shout out to you, Mike, Football Function. Super Bowl about to be coming up. Big time right there. Who you got?
Eagles.
Eagles, okay. I'm with you on that side. Definitely not going to ride with no Chiefs. Was going to say the inappropriate word, but...
Oh, it's not a curse word, but...
Y'all get what I'm saying. But, yeah, definitely going to ride with the Eagles on this one, man, and see what it's about.
Yep. I just think that it's not a mismatch by any means. The Chiefs can hang with anybody in the league, but the Eagles are a juggernaut right now. And, just prepare to see a Philadelphia Eagles Super Bowl victory, bud. You heard it here first. But anyways.
DJ Kuzma won't be a fan of that.
Sorry, DJ. Hey, at least you've seen your team win a Super Bowl, right? You get to go to sleep tonight and know I got 2 Super Bowl Lombardis. I watched my team win. That's something that some of us
Yes, sir.
haven't gotten a chance to experience. Yeah. But anyways, I can't wait to get DJ on the football function. Definitely going to be a juicy episode.
Oh, yeah, man.
We finally get him on
deserves a spot.
Oh, for sure. Without a doubt. But with all that being said, you guys all have a phenomenal weekend. Enjoy NXT Vengeance Day if you plan on watching that, as well as the Pro Bowl and anything else over the weekend. We finished Breaking Bad here, so we're, not in the market for a new show, but we're about to transition into a new show. We got a list of things to watch, so don't worry. We are booked as of right now. So don't worry, though. We're going to catch up here pretty soon. But like I said, have a damn good weekend. Walk passionately in the direction of your dreams, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.